Hey everyone. So I've been very unmotivated and lazy lately with doing any kind of videos. But today I thought I'd try to get back into it and show you a little bit of what I've been working on in my garden. Um, this is already the second round of weeding and trying to clean up my garden beds. Um, it's been raining here actually more frequently than we normally get, I feel like, during the summertime, summertime. And it's actually been pretty mild weather as well. We're starting to get into the warmer, like higher temperatures now, which is not fun, but it's been pretty mild so far. So that means the weeds have taken over my garden because I've been really lazy about getting out here as well, just to keep things down. So let's look at what I have going on. This is sort of the front part of my garden, which tends to get more attention because I can come in and do some stuff and then leave. And so that's why way back there, it's not very pretty looking right now. We'll go look at that in a little bit. So I had some turmeric that I grew last year and then saved some of the roots from, and I've planted them out this year a little bit closer here as well as where I planted them last year, and they've come up from some roots last year, and hopefully I'll get a little bit bigger harvest this year. I have some basil here. I think this one is lemon basil. So last year I had one plant that I had bought and it grew, and then I let it kind of go to seed. So now I have lots of little babies. So there's a few little babies all throughout here to just pick off. Now I've been slowly picking off like the leaves and pinching them down, and hopefully they'll get nice and bushy. This one I might actually pinch down a little bit lower over here. Even though it's a bigger, thicker stem already, that's okay. Here is some parsley that I'm letting go to seed. I tend to let a lot of my plants go to seed because I am lazy and I don't want to have to replant everything all the time. So, and I don't want to buy like starts from another place as well. So I've let these go to seed, and I've been collecting the seeds and also sprinkling a few of the seeds around. The ones that are, it seems like these take a lot longer to mature and like get ready to be able to dry, and save. So I'm just letting them kind of dry on here. I've taken a few of these off and put them inside so that maybe that will help them dry a little bit faster, since they won't be getting any moisture from any little drizzles of rain that we get. I mean, there's a few. And then I'm just going to sprinkle them around, and maybe they'll grow later on. Over here I have some lemon verbena and some mother of thyme back there. And then this is all asparagus, which I think I need to trim it down, but I haven't done that yet. I actually don't know how to grow asparagus. So that's basically my garden right now, is like there's a lot of things that I'm experimenting with, but I don't really know how to grow them. And I think that's okay. I don't think we need to know everything all at once. And you can just have fun and grow stuff, and you know, if it's successful, great, and if it's not, oh well, it'll be fine. So yeah, there's asparagus that is growing out into the garden. But that is something that I grew from seed. So that's actually some I planted last spring. So those are from last spring, and they've been growing really well. I haven't really harvested a whole lot of spears from it. I've just been letting it grow for now. And then hopefully next year, like, or maybe later this year, I'll get more spears. But I didn't want to try to harvest too much. Really, you don't want to. I think in the first year or two, you kind of let it build up its root system, and then you can harvest spears from it in like year 2 or 3. At least that's what I understand from it. Over here is my garlic bed, and I've just gone through yesterday to try to pull up some weeds because it was very full of weeds. I also have a few tomatoes growing in here. I don't remember if I actually planted these or not. They might have just grown from seeds that came and fell in the garden. I'm not really sure. But I have tried to put down whatever weeds I pulled up. I'm just trying to place it down on the ground to hopefully keep in some of the moisture, because right now I know it's going to start getting hot and the ground is going to dry out. So I'm trying to make sure that I start covering the ground a little bit, but I'm really bad about doing that, and hopefully things will not die on me. I also have planted in here some beans. These are lima beans that I don't know. I don't think I'm going to try to grow lima beans anymore because I like lima beans, but they do not, I don't know, seem to grow very well for me. I wasn't very happy with the production of that one, but that's okay. And then over there you can kind of see maybe some of the basil. That was just the regular standard basil that I had to plant over here and let it go to seed. So there's actually little basil plants all spotted around in my garden over here. Oh look, here's one right here. Let me clip that down a little bit. I've just been letting them grow wherever they please and just being happy with having some basil. It's really nice once you start, you know, letting them grow, then you clip them off, keep pinching off the tops, and you'll end up having some really bushy basil. Like that one's looking really good. I wanted to show you this nice bushy basil over here. So this one's actually been growing a little bit longer than some of the other ones, but I've just been going through and kind of pinching off. So like the leaves go like this, just been pinching off these. So we have a set of leaves this way, a set of leaves this way, and then another set this way. So just pinch off those. And then right here, eventually there will be two more leaves that grow, two more sets of leaves that grow out from it, and it gets nice and bushy then this way. So I'm going to go through and pinch off some of these. I don't typically like to pick off the really big leaves. I just leave those. If you wanted to, you could, but I like to try to leave those on there. And I just pick off the top ones. Because I mean, already this is quite a bit of basil for like a pesto, a quick little pesto if you wanted to. All right, here's my next bed over. So I have my garlic growing over here, and then this bed was lettuce during the fall, like fall winter time, but now the lettuce has all gone. I actually let it go to seed, and then I've actually, well, some of it's growing here in the garden right now. Let's see if you can see that. So I have a few pieces here that are growing, but I've actually been taking those little starts basically and putting them over in our hydroponics system. It's actually an aquaponics because we have fish that are circulating through. So I'll show you that in a little bit. But I've been taking these and growing them in there, and actually it's really successful. Much better than this. See, these I think have been growing about the same time as the ones that I put in there, and those have like tons of beautiful bushy leaves on them, and we just ate some last night. It was delicious. So I might probably go through and take some more of these out and put them in my aquaponics system, just because they're much more successful over there. And I think as the weather gets warmer, these are not going to do as well in the ground. Lettuce is more of a cool weather kind of plant and it does not like our Texas heat. So I also have some onions growing in here. A lot of these are from seeds that I put, but also some are from little like starts that I got from Walmart. Back here I have some, I think, French dandelion. I'll have to check on what it actually is. So it doesn't have the same dandelion like you see from your standard dandelion seeds. I have to double check on what this actually is called. It's actually a leafy green, but I'm letting things go to seed. I like to let things go to seed. Then I have lots more seeds than what I would have had if I just purchased them. And I don't tend to make, it doesn't bother me if it takes up a little space in my garden. I don't think any of these are quite ready to be harvested yet, but they have beautiful blue flowers. I think they're so pretty. I'm letting it grow. Okay, now we're on the other side of my big bushy asparagus, which this whole line here is asparagus and strawberries mostly. Now I have a little dill and some, what are these called? Black-eyed Susans. Now I have some black-eyed Susans growing in here too as well, and actually a random tomato that decided to grow over here, but that's whatever's gonna grow, I'm gonna let it grow. But I have strawberries. This little patch of strawberries right here actually did really well this springtime and was growing lots of beautiful strawberries, except for that a lot of the pill bugs were eating them before I could get to them, but that's okay. What I am going to try to do, because they are starting to, let's see if I can find one. They are starting to put out runners. Let's see that a little bit better. Okay, so they're putting out runners now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these runners and I'm actually going to clip them off right here. And I'm going to clip off all these little extra pieces. And now I have a little strawberry start. See, there's a little bit of roots growing on there. I'm going to go stick this in my aquaponics system as well. And we'll have some strawberries growing over there as well. I thought these roots did really good in the garden, so I didn't want to try to dig up any of these this spring. But now that we have runners, I can kind of thin this out a little bit over here. I'm going to let that one grow a little bit longer because I need some roots maybe. These are kind of looking a little sad, so I'm hoping that they will do okay. I think they're just going to, I'll pull up some of this dead stuff a little bit. And I'm going to come back through. As you might have seen earlier at the beginning, there was some grass clippings. So I'm going to probably come through and put some more grass clippings around these strawberries as well, so that I can kind of protect them a little bit and give them some nutrients. All right, now I just wanted to show you the part of the garden that I had not gotten to as far as weeding as much. As you can see, there is a ton of weeds all right here. I've started weeding this part of it, which now there's also some parsley, and I got some squash. I got a little acorn squash that I'm growing right there. This one's a patty pan squash. So there's a little one growing. I just took off one big one earlier. And then over here is a ton more weeds and more weeds and more weeds. So this is the job and the task that I've been working on, is trying to get all of my weeds dealt with. There are things growing here in this like little section right here. Right there is actually a parsnip that I'm letting go to seed. And then there's tons of carrots all throughout that I had a carrot that went to seed and I kind of just let it sprinkle around. And so I've sprinkled more carrots and they're growing pretty good. But there's a ton of weeds, so that's what we're going to work on. And I'm going to try to figure out how to get rid of some of those weeds. Also, oh yeah, this amaranth decided to grow all on its own as well. And I wanted to show you some other things that were growing over here. This is actually celery that I grew from seeds that are like a mixed seed from several different growers into several different places. So I actually was not sure that this was going to grow, but surprisingly it has. And I'm pretty thankful. I've been taking off some of the stalks and drying the leaves and things, and then I'm going to maybe make celery salt or just have them dried and chopped up. I've also frozen some of the leaves. It's really, really delicious when you actually grow your own food. I feel like it's so much better having your own food. It's so delicious growing your own food. I love grabbing stuff from my garden and eating it fresh or eating it cooked. It's so much more flavorful, and I just feel like it's much more healthy. So if you haven't started growing a garden yet, I highly recommend you try to grow something. Don't try to grow everything like I do. I grow a bunch of random things because I like to try to see if I can do it. But if you haven't grown anything yet, go try to at least grow a few things. Maybe some tomatoes, some basil, cucumbers are real easy too. Just get yourself a little pot or till up a little part of your yard and grow something. I highly, highly recommend you get some plants in the ground right now. Okay, this back section is sort of my field garden. I don't have everything in nice, neat rows necessarily. Right here, I have my sweet potatoes. This is what I grew last year, and actually I didn't start any sweet potatoes this year. This is all growing from what was left in the ground last year, which is actually really amazing and makes it my life like 10 times easier. So hopefully I'll get some good harvests from this. But there's a ton of weeds in here, and that's okay. Over here, I have some potatoes. This is the first time I'm growing potatoes, so I have no idea if it will be successful or not. I dug down and made some trenches, and then I put my potatoes in there, and then I started hilling up. So hopefully that'll help work. I feel like these are like super tall, and I don't know if they're supposed to be like that or not. They do have some flowers, so that's good. But I don't know. We'll see. I planted them a little bit late, but I'm also glad that I did because it rained a lot, and the people that I know, some of the other farmers, like they had to get rid of all of their potatoes because it rained too much for them to grow successfully. I planted these a little bit later. We'll see. Okay, so this part of the garden is the huge big mess that I have not figured out what to do with. The other part of the garden, I brought in a bunch of compost and made my beds, and I've been sort of laying down cardboard and trying to do things to help suppress the weeds. It hasn't been successful because I still have a ton of weeds, but it is much easier to pull up the weeds over there than it is over here. This has just been a mess, and I didn't bring any compost into this. Over where the sweet potatoes are, I did put compost down over there. And so not suppressing any weeds, obviously, but it does make the ground much more like spongy and easier to pull up if I do want to pull up weeds over there. This part, not so much. And I did try to plant some wheat over here, but it has not come up, which could be, grower error, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I think what my plan is I'm going to try to sort of like stomp down as much of these weeds as I can. And then I'm going to tarp this area to hopefully suppress the weeds over here. And then my plan, I think, will be to put down some compost that I have in my compost bin. I have a big compost pile. I have random places of compost that I've been growing and making. So that's my plan, and hopefully it will work. You can't really see it from here, but I do have some corn growing over there. I have two different kinds of corn. I have one corn that is just a, gosh, what is it called? I'll have to look up. That one's an actual packaged variety of sweet corn, and I'll put it up for you. The other little set of corn, it's what I grew last year. I got the seeds from Going to Seed. So again, I get a lot of my seeds actually from them because they are trying to bring in as much diversity to each seed. So they are cross-pollinating with other plants of the similar genus. And then that's hopefully going to bring more genetic diversity and then help them grow better within the climate. I've grown those already last year, and so then I've saved those seeds, and now they are going to be more genetically viable, hopefully, for my climate here. Okay, I did want to show you before I go show the aquaponics. I wanted you to see this beautiful sunflower. Look how tall it is. It's so pretty. This actually grew from seeds that just fell from last year. So isn't it wonderful when we get beautiful surprises in our garden? As promised, this is our last stop on our tour. This is our aquaponics system that we set up, I believe, in the fall-ish. I'll have to explain everything maybe in a different video, but we have some pumpkins that I have growing here. These were the first things I planted in here this springtime, and at first they were not doing very good. They were very yellow and not growing very well. We figured out that they needed iron. So we have an iron supplement that we are putting in every few weeks, every about 4 weeks or so. And you just mix it with water and then put it in. And that has made them grow and be so much healthier now. And they've been putting on fruit. So I have some pumpkins here, and then my lettuce up here, and I have some strawberries, which I'm going to plant these, and I'll show you how that goes. Okay, so right now over here we just have some Costco buckets. One of them has the fish food in it, and the other one has these clay. Whoops. One of them has these clay balls, which we put inside of the baskets, which everything just kind of lives in here. Okay, so there's these clay baskets that go into the pipe, and you put these in, and then your plant, I usually put in a little bit at the bottom sometimes to help kind of stabilize it at first, but this one has a bunch of roots, so I'm going to actually try to stick some of the roots through the bottom a little bit. I don't know that it's necessary to do that, but I do kind of like to do that just to help get them going a little bit. And then you put in the clay balls around it and fill it all the way up to the top. And these just help keep everything in place, and they help to retain the moisture as well. Okay, so there's that one. And it just has one little leaf. I'm actually going to take off this. So it should, we'll see, hopefully grow pretty well. And it already has, you know, a little bit of roots coming out, so that will be able to get to the water level. And I'm going to show you how everything works over here real quick. Okay, so over here, we've set up these PVC pipes, and then originally we had just cut out some holes in it, but these little baskets don't quite fit in. They sometimes will tip over and then kind of fall in. So what my husband did, what Zach did, was he actually 3D printed these little, I don't know, basket holders basically. So they fit in perfectly onto the hole that we cut out. And then these baskets fit right into it and they sit nice and perfectly on here. So that's what, I'm gonna just put this little guy here. And then he also printed these little covers so that when we're not actually using it for plants, we can keep it covered so that the sun doesn't promote algae growth in here. Here was some strawberries that I transplanted earlier. They are looking a little sad right now, but that's okay. Once they get established, they'll actually be doing much better. I also wanted to just show you some of the lettuce. So this, again, this is the same time frame of lettuce growing here that is in my garden, and look how beautiful this is. Like, I mean, come on, these are so big and delicious looking. And because they're growing in this hydroponic system, they're actually really, really clean. So they don't get any splash up from any dirt. So it's really nice to harvest from. I'm gonna show you my pumpkins over here. Let's see if we can find some. Here's one. Okay, so these are like a little white pumpkin variety. All of these pumpkins that I have growing right now are actually from seeds that were from last year, like in the fall. So here's an orange or a yellow variety. And let's look on this side. This is all of my tomatoes that are growing like crazy. Okay. So this was about maybe 1 to 2 weeks worth of growth. I planted these probably a few days before we left to Mexico, and we've been gone for a week and just came back a couple days ago. So this is about maybe 2 weeks worth of growth, which is crazy. So I haven't really come in and trimmed up anything yet. I will probably go through and pick off some of the extra little growth that's coming up, and maybe even trim up a little bit down at the bottom just to give these guys a little bit more breathing room, because they are fairly crowded over here. And I think they need a little more space. But I hope you've had a great time looking and seeing the things that I'm growing.